The rays and the 5 initiations confronting humanity. Let us now consider our theme of the rays and initiations. This signifies in reality a study of the rays as they actively condition the path of initiation. Forget not, we are dealing here with the path of initiation and not primarily with the path of discipleship. Even though the two paths are very closely related, we are not dealing with the disciple's character and actions. We are considering one thing only, the type of ray energy which makes any specific initiation possible, irrespective of the rays of the initiate. We are in fact considering initiation as a planetary process and not that process as it affects the individual initiate, that we shall consider under our point the significance of the initiations. Then we shall take each initiation and consider it as outlined on page 340. This you will probably find more interesting, but you will comprehend what I then say with greater facility if you grasp some of the implications as far as in you lies of what I have now to impart. These 5 initiations are under the energy impulses of rays 7, 6, 5, and 4, plus the dynamic influence of ray 1 at the time of the 5th initiation. You will note, therefore, that these initiations which confront average humanity are all of them conditioned by a minor ray, yet finally bring in the energy of the highest ray of aspect, that of will or power. This dynamic electric energy has to act in a new and different sense if the 4 higher initiations are to become living objectives in the initiate's consciousness. It is for this reason that the 5th initiation is called the initiation of revelation. Some understanding of the first or will aspect is conceded at this initiation, and for the first time the nature of divine purpose is revealed to the initiate. Hitherto he has been preoccupied with the nature of the plan, which is, after all, an effect of the purpose. In these 5 preliminary initiations, the true nature of the minor rays in their creative aspect and as expressions of the quality of the manifested world begins progressively to dawn upon the initiate. In the higher 4 initiations, he slowly arrives at a dim understanding of the purpose of creation. The true purpose, however, and the nature of the will of the planetary logos will only be revealed in the next solar system, wherein the soul-infused personality of the planetary logos will demonstrate living purpose within the ring-pass knot of the 3 lower cosmic planes. With these abstruse ideas, we need not concern ourselves. Let us study the energy conditions wherein the initiate proceeds from one initiation to another until he stands at the portal of revelation. Okay, we're going to do initiation 1 today. The birth at Bethlehem, ray 7, the energy of order or ceremonial magic. First of all, let us consider the type of energy which the 7th ray expresses and wherein lies its potency and efficacy from the angle of initiation. As we study these initiations and their conditioning rays, we will divide our ideas into 3 parts. 1, the type of energy and its quality in relation to the process of the particular initiation with which it is associated. 2, its effect upon humanity, regarding humanity as a world disciple. And 3, the stimulating nature of the energy as it expresses itself. A, in the 3 aspects of the initiate's nature, mental, astral, and physical, and B, through the soul-infused personality, the initiate in good standing, a phrase of the deepest occult implication. At this particular time in world history, seventh ray energy is of a growing potency because it is the new and incoming ray, superseding the sixth ray, which has for so long held sway. When we speak of ray energy, we are in reality considering the quality, the will purpose aspect of a certain great life to whom we give the name Lord of a Ray. You will find much about these ray lords in their earlier volumes of A Treatise on the Seven Rays. His divine intention, will, purpose, or the determined projection of his mind, creates a radiation or stream of energy which, according to type and quality, plays upon all forms of manifested life within our planetary ring pass knot. These lords of the rays are the creating and sustaining energies which implement the will of the planetary logos. They cooperate with him in the defining and the expression of his supreme purpose. The radiating emanations are cyclically objectified and are cyclically withdrawn. As they radiate forth into the three worlds, the impacting energies produce changes, disturbances, progress, and unfoldment. They create the needed new forms and vitalize and qualify that through which the immediate divine intention is expressing itself. They intensify both the quality and the receptivity of consciousness. At other times, during the process of being withdrawn to their own place, they cause the fading out or the dying of form aspects of institutions and the organizing organisms, to use a peculiar phrase. They therefore produce cycles of destruction and of cessation, and thus make room for those new forms and life expressions which an incoming ray will produce. It has been the gradual withdrawing of the sixth ray of idealism and of one-pointed devotion which has been responsible for the ferment, crystallization, destruction, death, and cleavages of the past century. Old things are passing away as the Lord of the sixth ray withdraws his attention and therefore his energy. His radiation is today no longer centered or focused in the life of the three worlds. Simultaneously, the energy and radiation of the Lord of the seventh ray are becoming steadily more powerful in the three worlds. This incoming of a ray always produces an intensified period of initiatory activity, and this is the case today. The major effect, as far as humanity is concerned, is to make possible the presentation of thousands of aspirants and applicants for the first initiation. Men on a large scale and in mass formation can today pass through the experience of the birth initiation. Thousands of human beings can experience the birth of the Christ within themselves and can realize that the Christ life, the Christ nature, and the Christ consciousness are theirs. This new birth initiation of the human family will take place in Bethlehem, symbolically understood, for Bethlehem is the house of bread, an occult term signifying physical plane experience. These great initiations, implemented by the ray energies, must be registered in the physical brain and recorded by the waking consciousness of the initiate, and this must be the case in this amazing period wherein, for the first time since humanity appeared on earth, there can take place a mass initiation. The experience need not be expressed in occult terms, and in the majority of cases will not be. The individual initiate who takes this initiation is aware of great changes in his attitude to himself, to his fellow men, to circumstances, and to his interpretation of life events. These are peculiarly the reactions which attend the first initiation. A new orientation to life and a new world of thought are registered by the initiate. This will be equally true on a large scale where modern man, the world initiate of the first degree, is concerned. Men will recognize the evidences in many lives of the emergence of the Christ consciousness, and the standard of living will increasingly be adjusted to the truth as it exists in the teachings of the Christ. This developing Christ consciousness in the masses of men will create necessarily a ferment in the daily life of peoples everywhere. The life of the personality, oriented hitherto to the attaining of material and purely selfish ends, will be at war with the new and inner realization. The carnal man, to use the words of Paul the Initiate, will be battling the spiritual man, each seeking to achieve control. In the early stages, after the birth and during the infancy of the Christ child, again speaking in symbols, the material aspect is triumphant. Later, the Christ life triumphs. This you well know. Each initiation indicates a stage in the growth and the development of this new factor in human consciousness and expression, and this continues until the third initiation, when there emerges the full-grown man in Christ. The initiate is then ready at the fifth initiation to register, realize, and record the long-awaited revelation. In connection with the individual and the first initiation, the seventh ray is always active, and the man is enabled consciously to register the fact of initiation, because either the brain or the mind, and frequently both, are controlled by the seventh ray. It is this fact which is of importance today in connection with humanity, for it will enable mankind to pass through the door, admitting them to the first initiatory process. It will be apparent to you why the present period in which human beings in large groups can take the first initiation corresponds to a situation in which bread is the major interest of men everywhere. Humanity will pass through this birth initiation and manifest the Christ life on a large scale for the first time during a period of economic adjustment, of which the word bread is but a symbol. This period started in the year 1825 and will continue until the end of this century. The unfoldment of the Christ life as a result of the presence and activities of the second divine aspect of love will result in the ending of economic fear, and the house of bread will become the house of plenty. Bread, as the symbol of material human need, will eventually be controlled by a vast group of initiates of the first initiation, by those whose lives are beginning to be controlled by the Christ consciousness, which is the consciousness of responsibility and service. These initiates exist in their thousands today. They will be present in their millions by the time the year 2025 arrives. All this reorientation and unfoldment will be the result of the activity of the seventh ray and of the impact of its radiation upon humanity. The seventh ray is, par excellence, the medium of relationship. It brings together the two fundamental aspects of spirit and matter. It relates soul and form, and where humanity is concerned, it relates soul and personality. In the first initiation, it makes the initiate aware of that relation. It enables him to take advantage of this approaching duality, and by the perfecting of the contact, to produce upon the physical plane the emergence into manifestation of the new man. At the first initiation, through the stimulation brought about by the seventh ray energy, the personality of the initiate and the hovering overshadowing soul are consciously brought together. The initiate then knows that he is, for the first time, a soul-infused personality. His task is now to grow into the likeness of what he essentially is. This development is demonstrated at the third initiation, that of the transfiguration. The major function of this seventh ray is to bring together the negative and positive aspects of the natural processes. It consequently governs the sex relationship of all forms. It is the potency underlying the marriage relation, and hence, as this ray comes into manifestation in this world cycle, we have the appearance of fundamental sex problems, license, disturbance in the marriage relation, divorce, and the setting in motion of those forces which will eventually produce a new attitude to sex and the establishing of those practices, attitudes, and moral perceptions which will govern the relation between the sexes during the coming New Age. The first initiation is therefore closely related to this problem. The seventh ray governs the sacral center and the sublimation of this energy into the throat or into the higher creative center. This ray is, therefore, setting in motion a period of tremendous creative activity, both on the material plane through the stimulation of the sex life and of all peoples, and in the three worlds through the stimulation brought about when soul and form are consciously related. The first major proof that humanity, through the medium of the majority of its advanced people, has undergone the first initiation will be the appearance of a cycle of entirely new creative art. This creative urge will take forms which will express the new incoming energies. Just as the period governed by the sixth ray has culminated in a world wherein men work in great workshops and factories to produce the plethora of objects men deem needful for their happiness and well-being, so in the seventh ray cycle we shall see men engaged on an even larger scale in the field of creative art. Devotion to objects will eventually be superseded by the creation of that which will more truly express the real. Ugliness and materiality will give place to beauty and reality. On a large scale, humanity has already been led from darkness to light, and the light of knowledge fills the land. In the period which lies ahead and under influencing radiation of the seventh ray, humanity will be led from the unreal to the real. This, the first initiation, makes possible for the individual and will make possible for the mass of men. Seventh ray energy is the energy needed to bring order out of chaos and rhythm to replace disorder. It is this energy which will bring in the new world order for which all men wait. It will restore the ancient landmarks, indicate the new institutions and forms of civilization and culture which human progress demands, and nurture the new life and the new states of consciousness which advanced humanity will increasingly register. Nothing can arrest this activity. All that is happening today as men search for the new ways for organizing unity and peaceful security is being implemented through the incoming ray of order or ceremonial magic. The white magic of right human relations cannot be stopped. It must inevitably demonstrate effectively because the energy of the seventh ray is present and the Lord of the Ray is cooperating with the Lord of the World to bring about the needed reforming. Soul-infused personalities acting under this ray influence will create the new world, express the new qualities, and institute those new regimes and organized modes of creative activity which will demonstrate the new livingness and the new techniques of living. It is the distortion of these seventh ray ideals and the prostitution of this incoming energy to serve the unenlightened and selfish ambitions of greedy men which has produced those totalitarian systems which today so terribly imprison the free spirit of men. To sum up what I have said, 1. The energy of the seventh ray is the potent agent of initiation when taken on the physical plane, that is, during the process of the first initiation. 2. Its effect upon humanity will be A. To bring about the birth of the Christ consciousness among the masses of intelligently aspiring human beings. B. To set in motion certain relatively new evolutionary processes which will transform humanity. the world disciple, into humanity, the world initiate. C, to establish in a new and intelligible manner the ever-existent sense of relationship, and thus bring about upon the physical plane right human relations. The agent of this goodwill, a reflection of the will to good of the first divine aspect. Of this first ray of will or purpose, goodwill is the reflection. D, to readjust negative and positive relationships, and today this will be carried forward primarily in connection with the sex relation and marriage. E, to intensify human creativity, and thus bring in the new art as a basis for the new culture and as a conditioning factor in the new civilization. And F, to reorganize world affairs and so initiate the new world order. This is definitely in the realm of ceremonial magic. 3, the stimulation of the seventh ray will in relation to the individual initiate. A, bring into being upon the mental plane a widespread and recognized relation between the soul and the mind. B, produce a measure of order in the emotional processes of the initiate, thus aiding the preparatory work of the second initiation. And C, enable the initiate upon the physical plane to establish certain service relationships, to learn the practice of elementary white magic, and to demonstrate the first stage of a truly creative life. As far as the individual initiate is concerned, the effect of seventh ray energy in his life is potent in the extreme. This is easily realized owing to the fact that his mind and his brain are conditioned by the seventh ray at the time that the initiatory process is consciously taking place. The effect of this upon the mental plane is similar to that seen on a much larger scale in the planet, for it was this ray energy which the planetary logos utilized when he brought together the major dualities of spirit and matter at the commencement of his creative work. The two aspects of the mind, the lower concrete mind, and the soul, the son of mind, become more closely related and enter eventually into a conscious, recognized association on the astral plane. It is the seventh ray which restores order within the astral consciousness, and on the mental plane, it is this influence which produces creativity, the organizing of the life, and the bringing together within the head of the lower and higher energies in such a manner that the Christ is born. This latter point we shall consider in some detail when we take up the significance of the initiations. We shall then find that the relationship between the pituitary body and the pineal gland is involved. Finally, it is seventh ray energy which, in the initiatory process between the first and the second initiations, enables the initiate in his physical plane life to demonstrate a developing sense of order and of organization, to express consciously and increasingly a desire to help his fellow men and thereby establish relationship with them and to make his life creative in many ways. All these factors are embryonic in his nature, but he now begins to consciously lay the foundation for the future initiatory work. The physical disciplines are at this time of great importance, though their value is frequently overemphasized and their effect is not always good. The relationships established and fostered are sometimes of small value, owing to the disciple being usually self-centered and thus lacking, from ignorance and lack of discrimination, complete purity of motive. Nevertheless, the changes brought about by the influence of this ray become increasingly effective from life to life. The disciple's relation to the hierarchy, the reorganizing of his life on the physical plane, and his growing effort to demonstrate the esoteric sense of white magic will become more and more vital until he is ready for the second initiation. And we will leave it there for today.